At downtown LA, this is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. I see this cable going across the entire street over into this, and this is wire. Somebody busted into this telephone or this light pole and connected some sketchy wire. And this wire goes all the way across the street to there. So sketchy.
Greetings and welcome back to Wolf Kage Los Angeles. Let's rewind the tape a few months to revisit the carefully orchestrated spectacle that was Kamala Harris's short-lived presidential push. Yeah, remember all the hype, all the glowing praise from celebrities suddenly turned political analysts overnight? I said it then, and I'll say it again now. The only reason paid actors, meaning Hollywood celebrities, do anything in a political space is because they're paid to, or worse, because they have to stay inside that elite, insulated club. Think about it. Do you really think these folks are out here losing sleep over the cost of groceries, rent spikes, or gas prices creeping past $5 a gallon in LA? Of course not. These people are flying private jets. These people are dodging taxes. They're living behind gates, both literal and social. Politics does not affect them in the way it does us. They live in a whole different world, one where consequences are optional and accountability is really just a PR stunt. Let me hit you with a stat. In the 2020 election cycle, over $14 billion was spent on federal races, the most expensive in American history. And who was footing some of the bill for those viral campaign ads, those sick photo ops, and those celebrity endorsements? You guessed it. The entertainment elite and their powerful friends. But here's the kicker. Most Americans, especially working class families, we weren't buying it. Harris polled in single digits nationally before she dropped out in 2019. So ask yourself, if she didn't have public support, why did the media keep pushing her forward like she was the next political messiah? That's the smoke and mirrors game, folks. Now here's where it gets a little more interesting. I want you to take a look at the next clip. Because while the Hollywood machine was busy trying to sell you a narrative, Donald Trump, love him or hate him, was gearing up to make a move that's about to change the conversation again.
Remember all of the celebrities that endorsed Kamala Harris last year during the presidential election? Well, President Trump is now saying he's launching an investigation into those that were paid, specifically Oprah, Beyonce, Bono, and Bruce Springsteen. He announced this last night in a Truth Social post saying that it would be a major and illegal campaign contribution if they accepted money to endorse her. He's going to call for a major investigation into this matter. Candidates aren't allowed to pay for endorsements. And this morning, he doubled down specifically talking about Beyonce, saying Beyonce was paid $11 million to walk onto a stage, quickly endorse Kamala, and walk off loud booing for never having performed. And then he goes on to say that Bruce Springsteen, Oprah, Bono, and perhaps many others have a lot of explaining to do. When he says many others, he's not kidding. This is the list of celebrities, and this is not everybody that endorsed Kamala Harris, but I think he will start with those that were paid to perform, like Lizzo, Usher, possibly Jennifer Lopez, and of course Bruce Springsteen, Oprah, and Beyonce. Now that he's already run the election, do you think he should be proceeding with these investigations?
He absolutely should move forward with investigating these celebrities who showed up, smiled for the camera, and endorsed Kamala Harris and got paid to do it. Oh yeah. Hey, let's not sugarcoat this. These weren't just endorsements. This was political advertising dressed up as activism. And here's what we have to remember. Celebrities they're just yesterday's version of what we now call influencers. Same game, just different platform. Back in the day, they were selling you Coca-Cola, Nike shoes, or perfume that you didn't need. But now they're selling you ideas. They're selling you politicians. And let's be real, this is about shaping culture, not truth. It's about making you believe something, feel something, and do something, not because it benefits you, no, but because it benefits them. That's dangerous. because now we're talking about psychological warfare. That's not politics. That's propaganda. You see, being a celebrity is no longer just about talent. It's about power. It's about influence. It's about control. You don't have to be a great actor or a skilled musician anymore. All you need is a massive platform and a message that keeps you on the right side of the elite agenda. Let me put it like this. Celebrity is not about art anymore. It's about ego. And ego, that thing wants to be worshipped. It wants to be seen as more important, as more enlightened, as more valuable than regular people, than you and me. These people, these actors, these singers, these models, they've convinced themselves that they're smarter than you, more moral than you, more worthy of shaping society than you. And they will say anything, do anything, promote anything to keep that illusion alive. It's why they talk down to you and me from red carpets and award shows while living lives that are 100% insulated from the struggles they claim to care about. So ask yourself, when these celebrities jump on stage to endorse a politician, are they really doing it for the people, or are they just following the script? A script handed to them by the same puppet masters who write the checks. Because that is not democracy. No, that's not free thought. That's conditioning. And that brings us to the next piece, and it ties in perfectly. Because just like the media use celebrities to sell you Kamala Harris, they use the same machinery to gaslight you about Joe Biden's health. They tried to convince us that Biden was sharp, that he was strong, that he was fit as a fiddle. That's their quote, fit as a fiddle. But meanwhile, the man was barely holding press conferences. Every time he got on the mic, it was like a roll of the dice. Would he finish a sentence? Will he or would he forget where he was, or would he wander off stage? Yet, Rachel Maddow, many others, the media, they told you, don't trust your lying eyes. They said if you notice something off, you were the problem. You were a conspiracy theorist, or worse, unpatriotic. Let me hit you with a stat. In 2023, Biden had the fewest press conferences of any president in modern history. Just 5 solo press conferences all year long. Compare that to Trump's 35 in 2020 or Obama's 22 in his final year. That's not transparency. That's hiding in plain sight. And yet, the mainstream media, the same outlets were fact-checking everything from Trump's tie color to what time he eats lunch, suddenly turned into see no evil, hear no evil brigade. But now, in 2025, the truth is being forced out. You're seeing clips go viral. You're hearing anchors stumble as they admit Biden may have not been in the best shape, mentally or physically. But here's the catch. They're pretending like this is brand new information, like it just landed on their desk yesterday. We've known. We've always known. And guess what? They've known too. But now they're backpedaling, trying to rewrite history. The same media that told you Biden is fine is now acting shocked. Shocked that maybe, just maybe, something was wrong all along. You can't make this stuff up.
First of all, people were put to shame. Me and others out there that talked about Joe Biden's mental acuity. We were told he was sharp as a tack, he had a photographic memory, he was intense and brilliant. And what's amazing is the sources of this book were the same sources that told us that we ought to be ashamed of ourselves. It's a stutter. Stop talking about him. The fact is they were managing his decline in a nursing home in the White House.
You're an oncologist, obviously, incredibly respected. You believe that it is likely, just for those just tuning in, you believe it is likely, if this prostate cancer has spread to the bone, that he could have had it for up to a decade, but certainly it's likely. Would it be fair to say it's likely to have had this for at least several years?
Oh, more than several years. You don't get prostate cancer.
I just want to stop you. So this is not speculation. If you have prostate cancer that is spread to the bone, then he's most certainly, you are saying, had it when he was president of the United States.
Oh, yeah. He did not develop it in the last 100, 200 days. He had it while he was president. He probably had it at the start of his presidency in 2021. Yes, that I don't think there's any disagreement about that.
First, rest in peace to Joe Biden, because there's a reason why we all know they're telling you now that man has cancer in his bones as well and his prostate. And we're going to say this, rest in peace to Joe Biden, because we know what they're going to do to Joe Biden. And they're going to try to do that to take off the fact that they lied to everybody and committed treason and had this man who did not know who he was or where he was pretending to be a president for 4 years. And then on top of that, he had cancer. He didn't just get cancer yesterday. He didn't find out yesterday, oh, and you got cancer. No, they been fucking knew. So not only did they know that this man was losing all of his faculties, but he had cancer. And still they paraded him around and flew him all around the world, compromising the country. Treason. The fucking pardons are all null and void. And everybody who hid the fact that Joe Biden was not the president of the United States of America needs to be charged for treason. Whether they were in his administration, in the news, and our government, everybody got to be investigated and charged. We're not going to forget.
Now, some folks out here, especially the left, mainstream media on the left, are saying Trump should just move on. Let it go. Let bygones be bygones. Well, let me ask you something. If someone robs your house, lies to your face, sets the place on fire, and then tries to gaslight you into thinking that it never happened, are you supposed to just move on? Of course not. And Trump should not move on either. In fact, he has a duty to us to make sure the people who orchestrated this web of corruption, this web of lies and public deception, are held accountable. This isn't just political theater. This is about protecting what's left of integrity in public life. And more importantly, it's about defending your right to the truth. Because let's not forget, the money spent on all of these deceptive campaigns, false narratives, and celebrity endorsement schemes and all this nonsense, that wasn't their private cash. That wasn't just some Hollywood trust fund. That was your money. Taxpayer dollars, your hard-earned money being funneled into optics, PR stunts, and campaign lies. And they used that money to manipulate, not to inform, to divide, not to unite. It's not just corruption. It's weaponized deceit. And that kind of behavior does not get swept under the rug with a polite, let's move on. It gets investigated, it gets prosecuted, and it gets stopped. And speaking of the people who think they're above answering to the public, let's head to our final segment. Because while the city of Los Angeles struggles with homelessness, a rising crime, and a cost of living that's pushing working class families out of the neighborhoods they built, Mayor Karen Bass is having a lovely steak dinner in Malibu. Now, there's nothing wrong with a steak dinner, right? But when people start asking her real questions at that steak dinner in Malibu, the kind she should be answering, she does what she always does. Dodges, deflects, and disappears.
Last night, Mayor Karen Bass decided to have a steak dinner at Lucky's in Malibu. And when she was approached by Malibu residents who had lost their homes, her friend told them, you should be ashamed of yourselves. There ended up being like some sort of a conflict in the restaurant, but that comment is completely uncalled for. It is Karen Bass's fault that the fires got so out of hand. It is Karen Bass's fault that over 12,000 structures had burned to the ground. The fact that there was no water on the fire hydrants, the fact that they had cut the fire department budget by about $20 million, the fact that they prioritized DEI over fire safety and prevention in a fire hazardous city and state is all Karen Bass's fault. She should be ashamed of herself. But yet here she is having dinner at a restaurant in Malibu when most of the businesses in Malibu are suffering. Malibu is completely dead. The Palisades, over 90 properties are on the market for sale. Like all of the lots are pretty much all for sale. It's crazy. People have lost everything. People are losing their livelihoods because of this woman. Yet here she is, without a care in the world, the same way she was when she landed back from her little trip when the fires happened, and she had that blank look on her face. She is a sociopath.
Karen Bass, Gavin Newsom, and the rest of the political elite running this state. They're protected. Let's not pretend otherwise. I've said it time and time again, California is drenched in money. Billions in tax revenue. Billions in corporate contracts. And don't forget, the real puppet master pulling the strings in this state. Hollywood. Hollywood doesn't just entertain, it controls minds. That's the truth most people don't want to admit. They've got scripted dramas to late night comedy shows. In all the media, the political message is constant, and it's always leaning one way. Night after night, week after week, they feed the public narratives. Not news, just narratives. And after a while, people start to believe the noise because it's everywhere. It's relentless. It's propaganda literally on autopilot. Now, let's get back to Karen Bass. Just look in her eyes. Look at her face. You can see, if you just look at her, there's no connection whatsoever. No empathy. No real feeling for what's happening to regular people in Los Angeles. The wildfires. The families who lost their homes. The streets that look like a third world war zone. It didn't happen to her, so she doesn't feel it. Think about this. She's the mayor of a city in complete collapse. Crime surging. Businesses fleeing. Schools underperforming. Over 70,000 homeless people living in tents and cars with needles in the gutters and rats in the alleyways. And while the city burns, figuratively and literally, she's out enjoying a nice steak dinner in Malibu. Yes, Malibu. A place scorched by recent wildfires where families lost everything. And here she is, grinning at a high-end restaurant like nothing ever happened. That is not leadership. That's a slap in the face. That's her way of reminding you, you can't touch me. Somewhere, someone in power has told Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom the same thing. Don't worry. You're protected. Nothing's going to happen to you. And that right there is the real issue. Here's the ugly truth. The reason they get away with this is because no one says anything. And the reason nobody says anything, sadly, is because the television hasn't told them it's time to care. You see how that works? We've got to break that spell. We've got to turn off the TV. We've got to start reading. We've got to start researching, start asking who's in charge? What are they doing? And most importantly, what are they supposed to be doing? Because once the people are aware, not of just what's happening, but why it's happening, that's when real change begins. There is no universe where the mayor of a city as broken and mismanaged as Los Angeles should feel comfortable sipping wine and cutting into a filet mignon while the streets she governs are collapsing. And while Malibu is still recovering from ashes, if you can even call it recovering. That is the definition of disconnect. That is the face of arrogant corruption. But the fix starts with us. So if you're watching this, don't just watch. Engage. Ask questions. Speak up. Get involved. Because silence is how they win. Awareness is how we take it back. I am Wolf Kage, and this has been Wolf Kage Los Angeles. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. Until the next time, peace.